Hello, hello. It's Cardio Wednesday. I'm going to finish the rest of the chapter with you all. So you need to have your textbooks. We're going to go over pages 160 to 165. We're also going to look at 13.4a in your workbook. So 160, 165, we're talking about the blood vessels. The blood vessels are the tubes, the network of tubes that take the blood to the heart and away from the heart. And we've got veins, arteries, and then capillaries. So we talked about how the arteries is A for arteries, and the arteries take the oxygen-rich and nutrient-filled blood from the heart. So they take it away from the heart to the body, and they are very thick and muscular walled tubes. And they come from the aorta at the top of the heart and then go to the different parts. And I want you to think of like a tree. So I want you to think about how you got the big trunk of a tree. Then it goes out, it makes branches, and then it makes little twigs, and then it goes all the way to the leaves, and it's got these tiny little veins, or tiny little arteries, I guess is what we should call them. But anyway, that is what the arteries do. So they go from big to smaller to smaller to smaller to smaller. And then where they end is they end at a point where there's what we call a capillary. And the capillary, and if you look at the bottom of page 161, you're going to see what happens. So when the arteries become only one layer thick, they reach the capillary area. And the capillary is kind of where the good blood comes in to go into the cells. And the bad blood is taken from the capillary into the veins. So you can kind of see what's happening in that picture there, where it comes in and it's red because it's oxygen rich, and then it kind of goes into the vein, and the vein is what takes it back to the heart. It's oxygen poor, it has the waste in it. Okay, so the veins are different than the arteries, they're opposite. So they're taking the oxygen poor blood, but they're going from tiny, tiny, tiny little, like the leaves, to the bigger, to the trunk. So they are little in the capillaries, and then they get bigger, they get bigger, until they lead to the superior and the inferior vena cava that go into the heart from the top and the bottom. The veins also have valves. And what these valves do is, if you think about gravity, and if you've got blood pumping back to the heart from the bottom part of your body, when it goes and it goes up, is pushed up, the valve shuts so that the blood doesn't come right back through. So that way it goes against gravity to get it to your heart to be cleaned and all of that. So let's go ahead. Oh, and I also wanted to look on page 160, 161, I wanted to answer the questions that they had. One was, what causes a bruise? Well, a bruise is caused when you bump into something and it breaks a vessel and the blood kind of escapes and it pools. Now, your body will heal. It's totally cool, but that's what a bruise is. Then on page 161, it asked, why does your face get red or darker when you blush? So basically what happens is more blood, the blood vessels in your skin, they get bigger so that more blood can get in there, which then creates the idea of darkness or red. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's look at 13.4a in your workbook. Okay, and you all are not going to have the little pieces to glue onto this, but I do want to walk you through it so that you kind of see what happens. So I'm going to start up here, and remember, this is the left side of the heart because it's like you're looking at it in a mirror, okay? So the left side of the heart, that is where it now has the nice fresh blood with oxygen and nutrients in it, okay? So it comes through the left atrium, left ventricle, into the aorta, and then that aorta pumps it into the arteries that go to the different organs in your body. So then we come down here, and after it's gone from the trunk to smaller, we end up in the the capillaries. So the arteries distribute oxygen-rich blood to the cells through the capillaries. Okay, so we've got the good stuff coming in, and as the good stuff comes in, and the oxygen moves from the blood to the body cells in the capillaries, then what happens is it also picks up. It's kind of like a station where the good stuff's dropped off and the bad stuff is put to take away. So this over here is where the capillaries then take the waste and the oxygen poor blood and goes into the veins. The veins carry that back to the heart, and it comes in through the superior and the inferior vena cava, goes into the right atrium, then the right ventricle, and then into the lungs to get the oxygen and get rid of the waste when you breathe out. Okay, so then I want to go to page 162 and 163 now in your textbook. Okay, and we are going to now talk about the body defenders. We're going to talk about the immune system, and that is one of the third function of the cardiovascular system, and that is where its purpose is to work along with the immune system to fight infections. So we have the white blood cells. Remember, I told you those are the defenders, and what they do is they will, when there is something in the body that shouldn't be, they will maybe eat the invaders, or what they'll do is they'll make proteins called antibodies, and these are made to fight the invaders. They attach to them and they fight and they help destroy them. And if you think about antibodies, you think of antibiotics. That's what antibiotics do, is they help the body fight the infection. It helps the white blood cells from doing that. Then I want to talk about page 164 and 165, and we've talked all year about what principles mean. It means the rules. So we have three main rules of the human body. And the first one is that the body's designed with many systems, and they each have a certain job. The second one is that they must work together to keep us alive. Just like we see that the heart, the cardiovascular, works with the pulmonary, which is the lungs, to help clean the blood. And then also you must care for your body through eating right and exercising to help keep the body functioning the way it should be. So you do that through eating nutritious food and through exercise. So hopefully, kiddos, this will help you to understand a little bit more about the cardiovascular system. And yay, bye.